All right, everyone, welcome back to another Python video. In this video, we're going to solve the highest Scrabble word problem. We're going to be given a list of string. We're going to determine the string with the highest Scrabble score, and the Scrabble point system works as follows. These letters get 1 point, these letters get 2, and onwards. So the characters of the word will be totaled up for a score. For example, if we had cat, it will have a score of 5. We're going to write a function that takes a list of string as an argument and return a list with 2 items. The word that has the highest score and the score itself is stored into a list. And for our solution, we're going to be writing two functions. The first function, called Scrabble, is going to take the string argument and just return an integer score of the word. And here we're going to have this function called best score, which is going to take a list of words and we're going to determine which of them did indeed have a highest score by returning either a list or a tuple with the 2 items inside. All right, and these are the words that were randomly generated by a website that we're going to analyze. Okay, and as you see here, our best score function is going to return 2 values, right? So we can actually separate that into 2 variables of answer and score so that we can have it nicely printed like that. So let's get started with the first one. We're going to be given a string argument, right? And then we have to return an integer based on these point values. So what we want to do first, well, we need to look at each individual values of said word. So that's very easy. We can go for character in word. All right, and then what we can do is, well, now just put this into an if statement, basically. All right, so we can say if that character, let's make it uppercase. So we can say character upper in a string, like that. It's not the most efficient way to do this, but we can definitely just say if this single character from this word is inside here, then we can definitely say the total score goes up by 1. So we want to do something like this. That means that we have to now initialize total score to 0 before our for loop so that we can continuously increase it as we go. Alrighty, and we have elif. We can say character.upper in DG. That. Or you can even leave it out like this and delete all the commas just in case. Let's do it like that. And DG. And if you don't want to repeat this over and over again, we can say current character. It's just character equals upper. And we can put this into here. Like that and like that. Total score is going to go up by 2, I believe. There you go. The next is current character in BCMP. If it's any of those, it's a total score plus equals 3. Next, current character is in that right there. Total score is going to go up by 4. Okay, we can say elif current character is equivalent to k. Then we can say total score is plus equal 5. And then we're going to get into elif if our current character equivalent to j and x. We can say total score goes up by 8. And lastly, elif if the current character is equal to q and z. We can say total score goes up by 10. And then after this end of for loop, we can say return our total score. So what this function is doing is very simple. We just create a single for loop and we're analyzing each character that we're given inside our given word argument. All right, and then we're just going to put it into uppercase so that we can do these comparisons. If that character is in any of these, the respective values for their score is going to go up 1 by 1. And if it's none of these, our total score is not going to go up, so it's not going to be affected. So we will be able to return a total score. So let's say, for example, if I were to turn this off, and we did print the Scrabble of, let's say, graphic, we should be able to get some sort of value. Let's test it. All right, and we'll get 15. All right, so we would see that just going through these values, we will be adding up these values 1 by 1. So for example, G would be 2, R would be 1, so we're at 3, A would be 1, so we're at 4, P would be at 3, so that'd be 7. H is at 4, so that's 11. And then I was 1, so 12. And then C is 3, so we get 15 in total. So our solution is working pretty decent. All right, so we can turn that off, turn these back on. Now our job is, well, we have a function that can calculate the Scrabble score for one word. How can we apply this for all of the words that were given in a list? And that is also very simple. Just like we did this for loop here for the Scrabble, what we want to do is say for word in a list. We're assuming that this list that we were given is a list of strings. So we can say that we're going to represent the strings individually as word. And then we can say current score is going to be equal to the Scrabble of word. So what's happening here is that within this function, we get to actually travel into this function so that when we give it a value, it is going to calculate the total score and assign it to this variable, because we have the return statement here, which calculates the total score, and we get to assign it there. All right. And what we want to do is the following. We can say our resulting list. So result list, it's going to have two values. All right. It's going to have the empty string for like the high scoring word and the total score of that given word. So we can say if the current score is greater than result list at 1, because this is at index of 1, we can say, well, result list is going to become word. And then we're going to say the result list at 1, and this is at 0, updating the very first item, is going to take the current score value. And this is going to happen over and over again until we get, until we reach the end of the list. And then we can say return result list, because we have analyzed all the words that we were given. So let's actually run this code now. And ended up being that graphic had the highest Scrabble score with 15. All right, so let's try removing that and test it again. And it says prediction ends up having the highest score with 15. So obviously in our scenario, we did not handle ties. All right, so maybe that's something that you can think about in terms of how would I modify this program or function so that I can handle ties if multiple words have the same score. So first and foremost, our first function was just totally focusing on a single string and how to calculate the Scrabble points of that single string. And then here we were analyzing a list and how we were learning how to use indexing to update values to the values that we want. And here we just had to do a single for loop analyzing all the different words like despair, choose, notice, history, appetite, dominant, implicit, or prediction, and just go through them. And then for each word that we grab, we're going to calculate the Scrabble score by using our Scrabble function we created. And then we just did a nice little comparison to update which would be our high scoring word and the total Scrabble score. And we ended up returning that list after it was all created. Okay. As always, thank you for watching and stay classy.